Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little different. It's going to be a walk around video of my 86 Camaro. So I'm pretty much going to go over the whole car, tell you what I did to it, engine modifications, bodywork, suspension, brakes, just give you a little walk around. Starting off, this car is a 1986 Camaro. It's originally a 2.8 Sport Coupe car. So it was a V6 automatic. The car was originally gray. Over the course I had this car, about 3 years, it's gone over a huge makeover visually and performance wise. So first of all, as you can see, it doesn't look like a Sport Coupe. It has a complete ground effects and spoiler package off a 92 Z28. So I picked up a roller car for about $1,000. I took all the parts off of it. That's really the best way to do it. I took off the brackets underneath the ground effects, all the ground effects. I swapped the rear hatch. You can see I don't have the 86 brake light sticking up out of the window anymore. I have the 90s hatch, the 92 hatch, the awesome high-rise spoiler, rear bumpers, front bumper, and the fenders I also took, as well as the door. So pretty much anything that had the holes already drilled for the ground effects, I took off the other car. What I like most about it, it makes the car look much more aggressive. I liked my car when it was a Sport Coupe just because it was kind of like a sleeper, but this is the look I always wanted. I always loved the ground effects, you know, the big chin spoiler, that spoiler on the back. It just looks, to me, it just looks so badass. I guess I'll just start from the front. I'll walk around the whole car. Hood-wise, I have a 2-inch. It's a steel hood. It's not a fiberglass hood. It's a bolt-on hood. No problems. It fits absolutely beautifully. Didn't have to do anything to it. The only thing, as you know from my first video, I did the hood pins on it. But other than that, it's a great hood. Fits perfect. I have no complaints about it. I kind of wish I got a fiberglass one just because it's a big hood and I would love the weight reduction. But I really don't mind it. It looks cool. I'm happy with it. The front end, I got the clear turn signal lights. I actually got these things off eBay. They were only like $30 opposed to the regular yellow lights that a lot of these cars come with. So I really do like those. Those look sweet. The grill is just also, it's a factory style grill, but it's like an aftermarket reproduction. So it doesn't have the mount for the license plate, but it's the same exact style as like the factory grill that was on the car. Coming around to the side here, I also got the clear or tinted side marker lights. Also, I got them off eBay. They were pretty cheap. I think they were like $20 for the pair. Also a great addition compared to the regular yellow amber lights. Coming around the side onto the wheels, I have C5 Corvette rims. I originally had the staggered setup. I had the 17s on the front and the 18s on the back. But then what happened was I went and upgraded the brakes. I have CTSV brakes on the car. I'm using a Z51 rotor with the 4-piston Brembo caliper. And when I upgraded the brakes, the wheel wouldn't fit over the brakes, so I had to get an 18. So I ended up going with just the 18s all around. I picked up 2 rear wheels, 275, 35, 18 on the front, and then I have the 275, 40, 18 on the back. I just like the look of the taller tire in the back. It looks a little more aggressive. I wasn't really a fan of the thinner tire in the back. Rear brakes, it's a factory 97 Camaro rear, so it is a posi. I just put 373s in it. It is a 10 bolt, unfortunately. So far it's holding up, but if I'm going to get any good track times, I'm going to need to upgrade it. I'm going to need to put at least drag radials on it, so I hope to do that in the future. Also, to get these wheels to fit on the car, because I have the 97 rear, it's 2 inches wider than the factory 3rd gen rear. So these tires, these rims fit on the car, no problem. No spacers are needed. For the front, I am running a 2-inch spacer. You can see it here. It's just a bolt-on spacer. I've been running these for 3 years and no problems with them whatsoever. Maybe once every 2 oil changes, I'll, retorque them, make sure they didn't come loose. But there's no vibration. I have absolutely no problem with these spacers. They're also, I got them off eBay. For the time I'm running them, and I think I paid like $60 for them, they're absolutely great. I have no complaints about them. All right, now coming towards the back of the car, you can see I have the high-rise spoiler off the factory 92 Z28. I also put the Z28 taillights. Before, I used to have the regular Sport Coupe taillights, would have the black bar going across the middle here. I always like these grid taillights. This was like one of the first things I did when I had the Sport Coupe. I got these taillights for it. I got the LSX emblem there, of course. Got rid of the 2.8 multi-port fuel injection decal that was there. Same thing on the side. I also have the LSX rocker emblem. Fits right into the factory spot. All right, now on to the interior. Well, first of all, the most noticeable thing in here, I'm running a 92, actually I think this is a 94 Cavalier wheel. When I was putting the car together, I kind of was leaving the interior the way it was. I didn't want to like go all out, you know, change everything. I wanted to leave it kind of looking stock, so I went with this wheel. I'm actually really happy with it. It's a smaller wheel than the stock one. I really like it's a lot thicker, so you have something better to grab onto. The bolsters are pretty nice for what it is. So I'm probably going to upgrade this later on just because I went with the seats, and I'm going to be changing these seats in a little while too, but that's for another video. But I would like to go with maybe like a Momo, like a suede kind of wheel. I want to do like a suede shift boot, redo the door panels. But for the most part, the biggest change in the interior is the dash. Like I said, this was originally it's an 86 V6 car, so the dash is slightly different in the 80s cars. Like the cluster is totally different. You have the round gauges instead of the full face gauge like this, where the gauges aren't separated by the plastic bezel. So what I ended up doing, like I said, I picked up a Roller 92 car for the sole purpose of just taking off the ground effects. But then it actually worked out even better for me, because this car originally had a cable driven throttle body, and because I have the LS in it, I would have had to get like a buffer box. I think the box was like $400 just to get the speedo working. And then when I ended up picking this car up, the 92 cars, they have an electronic speedometer, so they take a speed sensor signal from the transmission. So that actually worked out perfectly. I ended up just swapping the dash. I had to take the brackets off the other car, weld them on to get it to fit, but everything went together perfectly. I rewired the cluster because the wiring was a little different from the 80s cluster, but everything it was basically free because it came with the car. I wasn't even expecting to get it. It's a 145 speedometer. It's a Z28 speedometer. I got the higher mile per hour, and it was really a good swap. I'm happy I did it, but it's funny because it really does confuse a lot of people, because they look and they're like, this is an 86, but they look at the dash and it's like the whole car is basically converted. But it's not because I wanted a Z28, it's just because the dash happened to work that way, and then I really like the way the spoiler and just the look I was going for, it all came together. So it worked out really well for me. All right, guys, as you can see, we are not in the same place as before. Well, they kicked us out, so I had to move somewhere else. But it's not going to stop me from continuing my walk around. So I went over how it came to look this way, basically. Brakes, tires, wheels. All right, suspension. So I do have some frame connectors. I'm running UMI Performance weld-in subframe connectors. I have the UMI Performance lower control arm relocation brackets, because these cars have a ridiculous amount of wheel hop. So you can see I have the relocation brackets there. I'm running, I believe they're BMR lower control arms in the back with the poly bushings, poly pinard bar. Like I said, it's a stock 10-bolt diff with 373 gears. Shocks, I'm running Coney adjustable shocks all around. Right now I have the back set to medium and I have the fronts on soft because I'm always driving this car on the street. But I set this car up mostly for autocross, so it can turn. It's not just a muscle car. That's really what I was going for, both look and with handling. So I'm really happy with my wheel choice, my brake choice, my suspension choice, the cage, the seats. All right, the suspension in the front end, like I said, Coney shocks. The only thing that's really different, I'm running the factory control arms, factory tie rods and everything, but in the actual control arms themselves, I changed out the bushings for the those like solid Derlin bushings with the grease fittings. So I got rid of the old spongy, worn out 31-year-old rubber bushings, and I pressed those guys in. Other than that, and the shocks, biggest thing, springs. I'm running Eibach Pro Kit springs, which I think dropped the car 1 point, maybe an inch, maybe 1.2 in the front, and I want to say 0.8 in the back. That's probably wrong though. I know the sport lines drop it a lot more, and I want to go to the sport lines, but From what I was reading online, the Pro Kit is better for handling, so I just want to leave it that way. As you can see in the back too, the back sits a little higher. So I did take the rubber isolators out of the top, and I did the heater hose mod, so it does sit lower than it would normally. But I would just like it to be kind of even with the front, but it doesn't bother me too much, so I'm probably just going to leave it alone. That's also why I went with the thicker tire in the back. It takes up the wheel gap a little more. And when I'm going to the track, when I do eventually get a better rear and drag radials on the car, I will be able to run a taller tire. So that'll kind of work out too. So I'm probably just going to end up leaving it the way it is. All right, onto the engine. So obviously this is an LS motor. Specifically, it is a 5.3 LM7. It came out of a 2003 Chevy Silverado. When I originally put it in the car, all I had on it was an LS6 intake. I put an LS1 cam, and I had the factory 4th gen manifolds on it. And I just like made my own little Y pipe for it. And that setup, it put down 300 at the wheels. So that was about 3 years ago. I'm running a T56 6-speed transmission, great transmission, I love it. Handle a bunch of power, way better than the T5 these cars originally came with. Back onto the brakes, I ran a adjustable proportioning valve going to the back because the car originally had drums, and the original brakes, they never really worked on these cars. The proportioning system was horrible. So once I did the bigger brakes in the front, the thing was like nose diving like crazy. The back brakes wasn't even really doing anything. So I got rid of that. I made my own lines. I got this adjustable Willwood proportioning valve. Car stops perfectly flat now. It doesn't nosedive. It's a great upgrade. I think that thing was only like maybe 40 bucks too off Amazon. A few years later, I got the Fast LSX 102 intake. I'm running a eBay 102 throttle body. I have my own custom cold air intake I made. I just drilled a hole, ran all the piping through. I have the intake air temperature sensor underneath there. I don't know if you can be able to see you can kind of see the filter. It sits low, but I do have the water sock on it. I never had I don't really drive this car in the rain if I don't have to. But with the sock on there, I never had a problem with the filter getting, really filthy or water in it. So it works really well. After I went and did the intake, then I started modifying it a little more. I went with 243 LS2 heads, except these are the 799 versions off the truck, which is basically the same head, but I think the valves are made of like a different material. But aside from that, I'm pretty sure they flow exactly the same. I didn't do any porting, nothing like that to them. I just had them milled down just to bring the compression back up to the regular 9.5 that the 5.3 is at. I think I milled them 0.30. I did hardened push rods, ARP head studs, LS9 head gaskets, and I did the trunnion upgrade from Cop Cams for the rockers. The cam is a Tick Performance Stage 2 turbo cam because, as you know from the head studs and the LS9 head gaskets, I am planning on doing boost on this. I was originally planning to do turbo. I might do a supercharger now, I'm not sure, but by next year it is definitely going to be getting some kind of boost. I'm running long tube headers. They're just, Hawks knockoff, eBay long tube headers. I really have no complaints with them aside from they're kind of getting a little stained and rusty, even though we're supposed to be stainless. But I mean, fitment wise, no problems at all. They slipped right in. The passenger side collector hangs a little low, but it's really nothing too bad. I know how to drive the car now. I know how to favor it to one side so I don't scrape the header. So it really doesn't bother me too much. I don't really know if the Hawks are any better as far as ground clearance. I don't think they are, but if they really are, then I might just go and pick them up. I would have to do some research on that though. But this setup, the way it is, it put down 350 at the wheels, 350 horse, 350 torque on a Mustang dyno. So I would think on a dyno jet it'll probably be a little higher, and maybe it'll be making like 380 at the wheels. But like I said, it's all built for boost. I can't wait to get started on that. The car does have AC. Love the AC. Don't want to get rid of that. I'm keeping that for sure. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards the supercharger. It's going to be easier to keep the AC. I'm running an LS1 compressor. Yes, I did have to notch the cross member to get the compressor to fit. Also, I had to notch the K-member to get the oil pan to fit because I'm running an LS1 oil pan. So I had to notch that in the back. That really wasn't a problem. Tires, I'm running Nitto. What are these things? I don't even know. The Nitto NT05 tires. which they grew up really well. I mean, when you get them, they have like really low tread. They look bold now, but I mean, when I got them, they didn't really have that much tread on them to begin with. They didn't look much different from this, but they're really a great tire. I have Mickey Thompson sport comps in the back. I'm really not happy with them. I can't get this car to hook for like shit, especially with these tires. I think they were worse than the ones I had before, and I think I had some like Bridgestones on there before. But I really do want to just go and pick up a drag radial and just go for it. But I drive this car a lot. I don't want to blow the rear end up, have to pay for a huge tow bill. I don't have a trailer, I don't have a truck, so that's why I'm kind of just staying away from putting a good set of tires on the car from now. But next year I'm definitely going to get a set of 4, so I'm probably going to go with the Super Sport Michelin tires that the 1LEs and the ZL1s had on them. That's most likely what I'm going to do, because I really do want to start getting into autocross with this car. I haven't had time to get down to the track to start doing it. I might do it the end of this year before the track closes, just to get a feel for it, see what the car can do. But like I said, that's really what I built the car for. It wasn't meant to be a drag car. It was meant to be a handling car, a driver's car. And I really think I achieved that with my build. I'm still thinking of stuff I want to do. So I'm thinking about maybe getting different wheels. Not sure. I really like the way these wheels look on the car. A lot of people compliment on them. They are plasti dipped. They're not powder coated. They look like they could be powder coated, but this dip's been on here for maybe like over a year, maybe a year and a half. It's not peeling off. It's holding up really good. I did the same thing with the headlight buckets. This is plasti dip. This isn't paint. Same thing. It's holding up really well. So I'm really happy with how that came out. Yeah, so I'll do a little warm start for you guys before I wrap the video up. So I'm not sure if I mentioned, but I'm running an SLP loudmouth 2 on the car. And I just have the single outlet. It's a full 3-inch exhaust. Alright guys, so that wraps up my walk around video on my 86 Ella Swap Camaro. I'm sure there's probably things in there that I forgot. I just did so many things to this car. I think I got the most of it. I wouldn't be surprised if I missed something. But that's just the general walk around. All the major mods I did to it, all the future stuff that's probably going to come. Like I said, I am going to be putting boost on this car. I will be making videos on it. I got to redo the fuel system. It's starting to rain right now, so I should probably get out of here. I don't really like driving this thing in the rain, especially with my somewhat bald tires, but I take it slow. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe. There's more to come.